Okay, guys. So this Web.dev live extended or Web.dev live extended in the DSC SSA. So this event is actually organized for us. We did it specially for DSE SSA members and the community at large, the entire SSA at large. Everyone is invited, and we are here with Yohan, and my other colleagues too are here with me, Hannah and the rest. We would like you to stay glued with us as we are going to learn a lot about Google Dev Tools, Web Dev Tools, and other stuff. So I will hand over to my colleague Hannah to take control now. Yes, so Hannah, if you are there, I'm handing everything over to you now.
Hi everyone, once again welcome to this session, and we have some amazing athletes here with us who are going to be joining us in making this session a success. Let me see. Correct. So we have Samson. Is Samson on this call? Okay, so we have Samson. We also have Emmanuel. Can you please do a small introduction of yourself, Emmanuel?
Yeah, thank you. I'm the developer specifically for Index of the tools, and I'm very good and happy to be with you guys. Thank you.
We also have Elvis Safo Entry.
Okay, I'm Elvis Safo Entry, lead for Developer Student Club, UEW. I'm actually among the top 10 winners for Solution Challenge 2020. Nice meeting you all.
Congratulations. Once again. Yeah. And we also have Winnie. I think Winnie is not yet here, but Winnie is the DSC lead for University in Kenya. And we have Francis Ashon, who's the DSC lead for Kenya University in Ghana. All right. I think that's all. Yep. So yeah, you are there. So we have Shadrach Inisa, and we also have Ruben Kihu, and we have Jesse Oredu. So thank you all for joining this call. Yeah, Winnie is here. Hi, Winnie. Okay. So we just move on. Thank you all so much for joining. So I'll just hand over to Yohan. But first of all, Yohan is a okay. So Yohan is a developer advocate. He's a web developer. He works with web developer relations at Google, and he was a GD for web technologies from 2015 to 2017. And he's been a Launchpad mentor since 2015 and a developer advocate since 2017. And he's been with Google for 5 years and 7 months now. So we are so lucky to have Yohan here with us, and I'll just hand over to him. Hi, Yohan.
Hi, thank you, Hannah. So maybe I can give some intro also about myself. Yes, just like Anna introduced before, I'm Yohan. I work as a developer advocate for web developer relation in Google. So as you know, Google have a lot of products, and one of the product we have Chrome, but we not say that our team is Chrome developer relation, because we're not advocating the Chrome, but we are advocating the web as an open platform. So as you know, web is not about the browser, but it's more about the standard and the whole web platform that could be supported by the other browsers as well. So, and I'm from Indonesia. I've never been in Africa before. So one of the dream, hopefully sometimes later, I can visit you guys there and deliver this talk in person. So, but now because we have the COVID situation, so hopefully this thing will works with you as well. So today, I know DSC, for your information, DSC program started for the first time in Indonesia. So I know quite well about this program because Erika Hansen, the one that lead this DSC program, previously lead developer relation for Indonesia ecosystem. So I know what you guys doing, and so that's why I'm trying to deliver my talk also to not more like advanced thing, but more like give you some kind of like a perspective as a student. If you want to start your career, how do you want to see different technology like Android, iOS, or web? So let me present my slide then. Okay, so you guys can see me now. So yeah, so 2 days ago, we just finished Web.dev live. Basically, this event is something for our team to update all the technologies that we are working on the web platform, and also to give you some updates about the things that we're working on for the last couple of months. And I believe you guys already watched some videos, but today I gonna wrap some of our contents and put it together, and just trying to give you some perspective how you can use the web technology to build your first product. So that's why I give the talk title, Build Your First Product with Web Technologies, because I know as a student, you guys maybe not decided yet which one you want to choose as your career. So do you want to become like an Android developer, or you want to become iOS developer, or you want to become a web developer? So I just want to give you how things on the web can help you to build your first product if you want to become a web developer. So if you want to ask questions, anything, I'm quite active on Twitter. You can find my Twitter at Yohan. So you can just mention me and ask any questions if you have, and I can easily answer over there. So why web? I think this is the very common questions. Whenever we want to build our product, we always come with the questions, should I build Android first, or should I build the web first? So one thing that I want to highlight here is what the best part if we build our thing with the web. So as you know, if we build with the web, we can just code once and then it easily run everywhere, literally everywhere. Like you can run on the phone, you can run on your desktop, on your laptop, on your tablet. Even these days, I think smart TV come with web browser as well. So you can easily also run your app inside your TV if you want to. And web from the beginning is just a text. So it's super easy if you want to build something to aggregate the data that you have on the web. Even it could be indexed also using Google search or other search engine as well. And you can very easy to find whatever you want if you want to search through the web. Compared with the native, of course, we know also there's a indexing, app indexing if you build something with Android. But it's not as simple as that. If you not install the app, it's not indexed inside your phone. But with the web, once you deploy on your server, it's very easy, got indexed, and then everyone can find it if they just search the right query for your website. And if you compare between native and web, with the web, all the pages that you found in internet, it comes with a URL or link. So you can just use that link and then just share it with everyone. You can share it to your chat messenger, and everyone just click that link, and then they can see the same thing that you see. Compare with the native. With the native, without the web, the native cannot share the same thing like the web. The only thing you can do if you want to share something on native, you need to screenshot, because if not, they always need web support to able share the same content using the native one. And the best thing also that I really like, especially for a developing country like Indonesia, where the data is quite expensive and not everyone willing to download using their cellular data. So whenever you just want to open one page, that page the only thing that you will download compared with the native. If you using the native app, for example, you're using Instagram native, even you just want to browse the things, like just see the timeline, you definitely will need also to download the video recorder things, all the story template and everything, because as an app, you cannot use app without download everything. And for some people who really worry about their data, I think this is very important as well. So the questions coming like, if we want to build something, which one we need to focus? Imagine you start your first startup and you want to decide which one we build first. Because if you only have one developer or two developers, you cannot build both platforms, because more platform to support means more engineers to hire. And that's not a good thing for the startup. So you need to decide which one you want to build first as your first product. So I usually work with the partners a lot. And whenever I talk with big partners that we support, usually they always come with this insight. They always have more traffic on the web compared with the app. But if we're talking about conversion, the app conversion always bigger compared with the web. The conversion here means if you build something like an e-commerce, you want to see the goal as the person who visit your online shop will be do transaction inside your online shop. So the conversion here means for 100 visitors and you only got one transaction, means your conversion rate only 1%. So for now, in native, the standard is 5%, but on the web, it's only 1%. So why this is matter? Because if we see the user segments, you need to see a different thing if you compare between web and the app. On the web, the user who come, it's not loyal user segments yet. They also part of the new users who maybe they doesn't know about your brands, they doesn't know what the products that you have, but maybe they also already know. So this is kind of like a mix. So imagine if you go to a shop, you just walk in the front of the shop that you not notice, and you don't know about the brand. You just wanted to see things. But on the app, because people already download the app, means they already know what's the app about. Because if they don't know about this app, they probably will never download the app. So that's why the conversion rate on the web, it's slower compared with the app. Because on the web, with the ton of users, the users are mixed between users that know your brand and users that don't know your brand. But with the app, Of course, if they download your app, they already know your brand. But if you add enhancement to your web app by adding feature like add to home screen, this is something that we usually call as a progressive web app or PWA. We can see the conversion rate basically the same with the app. Because once people add to home screen their app, it's easily accessed through their home screen. They just need to tap an icon, just like an app, instead like typing the URL on the browsers. So if the user provide with these features, you can see also the increasing of conversion. And the conversion rate will be the same, just like an app. So that's why if you want to start build something like your product, I suggest you to build with the web app because it's very easy to get traffic compared with the native because people just open it. They don't need to download anything. It's very cheap compared with the native. They need a big data to download your app. And probably some people doesn't want to download it without the Wi-Fi. So with the web, it's less friction for your users to access your product. But if you want to start build a good web app, what's something that you need to know? So this is something that's super important. You need to give the same native experience because a lot of people tell this web is not slow, web is lagging and is a bit janky. Compared with the native, they're very fast. Whenever you type something, it's appear instantly. And this is always happen because not all developers care about experience. If you see like a browse, like a CNN.com, a lot of ads and super slow because a lot of images there and a lot of trackers as well. It's super slow experience and lagging whenever you wanna interact with the web app. So one thing that you need to consider if you build a web, you need to deliver a native experience. And what is native experience on the web? This is the three things that we consider as a core metrics. So if you want to build something that really as good as the native one, the first one you need to consider is make sure it loads fast. Because whenever it loads fast, the user will know that something happening whenever they open the website. And also whenever they interact with the website, it needs to be responsive. So if you have a menu there or if you have a drop down there, whenever a user tap there, it needs to be responsive. There is no lagging there because if it's lag, people will think this is not good. And also sometimes on the web, we see a lot of ads that push down the content. So imagine you open a website and you reading a content, but suddenly the content just pushed down and you cannot read the content that you want. So this is something that we want to provide as a good user experience whenever user access your website. And if we want to know your website good or not, we need to measure it. We need to know with numbers what kind of numbers that set our website is good enough. If you want to measure your website, there are two data here. There's a lab data and there's a field data. So the lab data, basically, whenever you test by yourself, you test your website, how fast your website on your own laptop, on your own phones. But your phones and your laptop is different with the devices that your users have. So that's why it's super important also to measure your web experience from the user perspective, not from your own site. Because I know a lot of developers have like an expensive phone. So they not really notice that their website's slow because their phone basically fast enough or expensive enough. But most of the users who access the website they not have the same device as yours as a developers. Maybe they have a very cheap phone, like less than $100, and it's super slow whenever they open your website. So you need to consider, make sure you check also from the user side. And these are different tools you can use to check. So I suggest you to test with the PageSpeed Insight first, because it has the field data and also the lab data. So you can see both from user perspective and also from your perspective. And then you can consider other stuff as well if you want to explore more. So how good a website? So imagine if someone asks like, how fast your website? If you said it's fast enough, but how long? So you need to know a number that define how good your website. So if we're talking about the fast loading, we need to see on the largest contentful pane metric. And you need to make sure your website is loaded less than 2.5 seconds. Because less than that, we notice that the users already feel your website is too slow. And then maybe they consider to move or get away from your website because they don't want to wait. And also, if someone tap on your icon, your button, your menu, it need to be responsive. And the responsive here need to be happen less than 100 milliseconds, because more than that, it consider lagging, and people will feel that this is not good enough or not smooth enough. And also for the content, make sure the content stable as a visual, and the content is not jump around, because it's will distract the users whenever they like watch the video or read your content. And this is I want to show you, like if you see here, the LCP basically measure on the biggest content element, and usually it's the hero element or the feature image like this. So the biggest element need to be appear less than 2.5 seconds. And the FID, or first input delay, whenever user tap the thing on your website, it need to be respond under 100 milliseconds. And usually it's happen because you put a lot of things. Like imagine if you click a button and you do something first, like for example, you track or send event to analytics, or you do something like a fetch from server with before load something, it will be considered as a slow, because you not do something when the user tap your icon or your menu or whatever. And this is also the example. Imagine like you reading this green box as a content, but then suddenly an ad appear and then push down the content that you currently read. And for the users, that's not really good, because we consider if the shifting of the content, we only allow 10% or 1.1 from the height of the screen. Because more than that, we consider user will get distracted and they consider this is not a good experience for them. So check these three metrics. Make sure whenever you measure it with the PageSpeed Insight, please check these three websites on Web.dev and make sure you know what the possible cause these metrics whenever it's too slow. If you see or test with the PageSpeed Insight, with Lighthouse, or whatever tools you consider. And one thing that you need to understand, we notice that whenever user feel the website is too slow, people will feel they want to get away from your website. So if you're able to keep the metrics good enough for all those three, 20% of the user feel they want to stay on your website if it's fast enough. So one thing that you need also to consider, the Google search will use these three metrics as part of the page experience ranking signals. So if you want to make sure your website is like appear on the first result, make sure you also consider to adopt these three metrics. Make sure everything's good. You can test it with Lighthouse, with the PageSpeed Insight, or whatever tools you like. You can check more here, bit.ly page experience. So this is how you want to measure your website. You can basically use the Lighthouse. So Lighthouse is built in inside your Chrome browsers. you can just open the Chrome Dev tool. If you want to know, like you can just right click or open the developer tools, and then you go to the Lighthouse tab. There's a Lighthouse tab over there, and then you can just run it and see if your website is fast enough. And also you can use this PageSpeed Insight. I prefer use this one because Lighthouse only provides you with the lab data, means the website only tests from your laptop. But if you're using the PageSpeed Insight, you will able to pull the data also from the user side, because Chrome provide Chrome UX report, which is able to help you check or monitor your website performance from the users whenever they open your website with the Chrome browsers. So check these three metrics in different tools. You can see the difference between the things. And also you can install the Web Vital extension if you want. So you will see something like on your browser built in whenever you open it. So if you want to know more about the page experience, make sure you check these 4 talks in Web.dev Live. It's already live in Chrome Developer YouTube channel, or you can just go to the Web.dev/live. Now, so if you are to build something like really fast, really good, of course, website is not feel native without native capabilities. So one thing that's really important is whenever you talk about native can work offline. For example, native can access your phone device. Native can access your contact. Native can like give you push notifications. So people want these kind of things because they feel it's more interactive. So that's why web presently is starting to provide these web capabilities that able to make your website to access the hardware as well. So I want to show you one thing that maybe you can consider to add to your website better. So if you want to check, there's a Fugu project. You can go to the web.dev/fugu-status. You can check all the APIs that are available that able to help you access the native features on your device, either on the desktop or on the mobile phones. Sorry, can you, Francis, can you mute your audio? Thanks. So go here, check the Fugu trackers, because Fugu basically a project that we are doing to make sure the website as a platform able to do some capabilities just like a native app. I want to show you something like maybe you want to consider. So imagine you want to build something like a content reader or like a social media, like a Twitter. So one thing that you want to consider is I want to read the content automatically, even without the connection, even without I open the app. So you want some kind of like an experience like your social media content will automatically refresh or get the new content even you not open it. And this is possible because recently there's a new API called Periodic Background Sync API that help your app to fetch the data from your server without open your app, especially in mobile. So in mobile, you can use this API, and it's a standard right now that you can use inside the Chrome. And if you register, for example, like this, you can set like the interval of your API you want to call. So for example, here, we just set the minimum interval is 1 day, because this is like a 24 hours, 60 seconds, and 60 minutes. And then we just want to update our content once a day. And even the users is not open the app in their phones, this function will be triggered and then pull the data from your server automatically. So whenever user in the morning, they wake up and they want to check and read new content, the new content already there because it was pulled at the night when the user are sleeping. So this kind of thing is something that we always want whenever you build a native experience. We don't want user like access the content. They need like pull it manually or update manually, because if you can provide that content automatically, that's a good experience for the users. So this is how you call it. So basically, you just need to listen the periodic sync API. Before this one to register, like I want to call my API once a day, and then once the periodic sync trigger, you need to do something here. Basically, just call the website and then pull the data and then put it inside the storage or IndexDB or whatever. And so the content available offline. And you can just also import this inside your website by import the script. So this is also, you can use also to pull not only like a JSON data, but you can also push the data to your server if you want to. So make sure you read the, there's a like a documentation in Web.dev about this API. There's a lot of examples that you can use to use this API as well. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I just go back. And then something also you wanna have if you build something like that. So imagine you you wanna post like a video or upload an image with your social media app. But then sometimes you don't want to make the users waiting when the image uploaded. So the notification trigger here, you can use to trigger notification whenever the upload finishes. So the upload will be happen in the background, but then whenever it finishes, you can trigger a notification and then show the notification on the users and tell them like, hey, your content already available, and if you want to access your content, you can just click here. And it's now you can read more about this thing. For now, you can easily trigger the notification with anything, but we like to use only for the timer here, because I think it's very simple. For example, here, if you want to build something like a clock app or alarm, so you want to set like, oh, I want to remind me to wake up at this time, you can use this API to trigger a notification. So just put a specific time over there, and then you will get the notification exactly when the time come up. And it will be showing up like this on your phone if the time is already passed by. This is the example. If you want to use the notification trigger, so you can use the timestamp trigger if you want to use as a timer, and then you can just use this API to register your timer. And this is how you can use like a filter detection. So if this notification available inside a window, means your browser already support the trigger notification. If not, then maybe you should let the users know that this is not support yet, or maybe you ask them to update their browser. You can check all the lot of new APIs that you probably wanna add. Like for example, there is a web OTP that allow you to access the SMS OTP to your phone automatically, so you don't need to copy and paste whenever you send the OTP token for login or sign up. Or you can use also the contact API. If you want to share something for your contacts, you can access the contact directly from the API. This is something that never able to do. We never able to do inside the web, but now we have all those things, and a lot of new APIs also coming. if you want to know what kind of APIs you can use, you can just go to the Web.dev and check Fugu status. Then, if you already built something like a progressive web app, you have the fast experience, the content stable enough, people consume the content with the good experience, and also you already provide like a notification, it could be work offline, you already have a good feature, right? But the user is still always looking inside the Google Play. They don't want to use Google search, especially in the country like the mobile first country, like Nigeria and Indonesia. I'm not sure about Ghana, if you are a mobile first country or not. But in the mobile first country, people tend to search the app inside the Google Play. So that's why if we build the progressive web app, we want to have our app also available inside the Google Play. And we have something new called Bubble Wrap. You can use this as something like a tool to bundle your progressive web app and then ship it as an Android app inside the Google Play. I'll show you how it works. So one thing you want to make sure you build first your progressive web app. You need to check using the Lighthouse that your score is good enough. And this, for example, the PWA here means you already have like a manifest, you already provide at the home screen features. Once you have these kind of things, then you can consider to wrap your app as an APK. Previously, before this bubble wrap things and then bundle the things, usually people bundle their app using this kind of things like a web view. If you're familiar with Electron, so Electron basically bundle the browser or the web view also together with their app. But this is not very optimal option because web view is not as modern as the browser. It still not have this kind of things like a push notification, web Bluetooth, web USB, and all those new API that come with the Fugu project. So you need to consider not using these things. And also if you use Electron, Electron will download the same browser like a download a Chrome. Even your app actually is a very small. So for example, as you see here, the browser actually around 26 megabyte. Imagine if your web app only less than 1 megabyte, and then you need to download these things. It's funny because actually you already have a browser inside your phone. Why you need to download again these kind of things? So you need to consider avoid use Electron if you want to bundle your app because the size will be as big as the native. And we don't want to make the users download the whole things because that's not a good thing for the web. So that's why we have this trusted web activity that able to wrap your thing and then run it in the full screen using the built-in browser that you already have. So you don't need to download the browser engine because the trusted web activity will use your Chrome engine inside your phone. So you only need to download your small app instead like together with the browser engine. And then of course you need to understand also how to build the things because the trusted web activity basically an Android library. So you need to understand about using Android DevTool. You need to also understand how to use other stuff as well, like Kotlin, Gradle, and things, because you need to bundle these things using the trusted web activity as an Android library. But if you want to use this, it's very simple. It's a Node.js API. So you can just set up as a Node.js tool. And then if you have your phone, you can use that your phone also to test it. And then make sure you also have this installed already before you run it. And this is something you need to see. The bubble wrap command line basically will give you these three things. It will give you the PWA quality criteria report. So this is something that we want to make sure whenever you bundle your app, it will be good enough for the users. We will also have this asset link.json. You need to use this to upload your APK to the Google Play and also the APK itself. So this is something how it looks like for the report. So whenever you bundle with Bubble Wrap, the Bubble Wrap basically will check the PWA score and also the performance score, because we want to give good experience for the users. We don't want user download your app, but they got like a slow experience and then they feel like they don't want to use the app because it's too bad. So make sure before you bundle your app, make sure you check with the Lighthouse and make sure you have these pages. So once you have this PWA page here, means your web is good enough to bundle because it's considered fast enough, good enough for the user. If you don't want to install like the bubble wrap and the whole things, you can just use these things. Go to the pwabuilder.com. It uses the same tool as bubble wrap. You can just put your URL over there and then you can just run it and it will give you the same thing that bubble wrap was giving you. So it will include the APK and also the report and also the asset link. So closing. First, if you want to build your product, make sure you start with the web, because with the web, you can easily get more users. You can get more users by sharing the URL to your friends. You can get your user by post your URL into the social media. You can get your users even if you get into the Google search, so you got index. And also make sure if the user access your website, they need to feel a better experience, and make sure you check with the web vital metrics. So if you have a good score on the web vital metric, we can consider the core experience on the web is good. But if you want to give more native experience, like work offline, I can access it from home screen, just tapping the icon, or I can make my app auto update without open the app. You can consider to use the API in the web capabilities. Check Fugu in the Web.dev. You can see the whole new APIs that coming in the browser. And also, if you want to make your user also find your app inside the Google Play, you can consider use this bubble wrap that provide you a tool to bundle your progressive web app, and then you will get the APK that you can upload to your Google Play account. And that's it. Hopefully, you guys get things, and hopefully you guys can decide what do you want to be. You want to become a web developer, Android developers. Don't see this as a platform war. We don't see something like web is better, Android is better, or iOS is better. Every users always come with a different preference. So you need to see where are your users are available, and then you need to give them the tool on that platform. So, but if you want to consider what to build first, I suggest you do as a web instead of the native, because with the web, you can easily give access for everyone without download anything. I think that's all from me. Thank you. And then I give it back to Cedric or Hannah. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much, Yohan. That was really insightful and interesting. Yes, so I think Francis is Sean. Hi, Francis. Can you hear us?
Hello, Hannah. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So we'll just head over to the questions and answers segment. Yeah.
Okay, so from Slido, an anonymous person wants to know, you talked about a certain API which automatically refreshes your app in the background within a certain interval. He wants to know the name of that API again.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Someone asked, he wants to know the name of the API that is used to refresh your app automatically.
Okay, let me show again the screen then. So the API name basically calls periodic sync API. It's part of the service worker. Let me see the slide. Yeah. So this is the API name, the periodic background sync API.
Okay.
It's part of the service worker because service worker work on the background, and then you can use this API to trigger automatically any call or API or function you want to run or in the background.
Okay, that's great. If anyone has any other question, you can ask on Slido or you can ask here straight away.
Yeah, feel free anywhere.
Oh, I have a question. So, like, in order to use these APIs, do we have to be familiar with, like, for example, Node.js and the like, so that we'll be able to use some of these APIs you are talking
about? Which API? Is it the bubble wrap or other APIs like the predicting API?
Okay. So, like, I was asking whether if we have to be conversant with, like, Node.js to be able to use some of the APIs you talked about, like bubble wrap.
Yeah. So bubble wrap basically a Node.js CLI or command line interface, but it also come with as a library for your Node.js. So if you wanna build something, yeah. So if you wanna build something automatically, you can use it as a library inside your Node.js. So if you know Node.js, you can use it. But if you don't know the Node.js, you can use the PWA builder, like this one. So you don't need to understand Node.js if you wanna bundle your app. You can use this one. You just need to point in your URL, put inside the website, and then you will get the same thing that you got from the bubble wrap, because they use bubble wrap as well on the backend. Is it good? Yeah. Thank you, Emmanuel, to post the URL. Any other questions? Feel free. Even if you want to ask something that not part of my talk, it's okay as well. So anything about the web, feel free to ask. It's not to be like something that we currently talk about. Even anything outside this thing, it's okay as well, as long as it's all about the web. Feel free.
Yeah, hello. My name is Jesse, and
go ahead, Jesse.
Yes, I wanted to find out if there's a way we can reach you in case we start using some of these things and we find problems. So that we can, let's say, reach you to get probably some help or something.
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yes, I was asking if there's a medium or some of these products, and in case, let's say, we encounter some problems, so then we can see, so you can help us like we can reach you?
Oh, I give you my Twitter account before. So yeah. You can ask me at Twitter. Just mention me there. And also, most of the Google Developer Advocate are available on the Twitter as well. So you can just find everyone that you see 2 days ago on Web.dev Live. Just search their name on Twitter. They usually very active on the Twitter as well. So feel free to mention me if you have any question on the Twitter.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Jesse. Oh, we got a question on Slido. Let me just share it then. So someone asked about how to get started on APIs. So if you want to know about what the API that we have, you can go here. Let me show you. So you can go here in Web.dev, Fugu test status. A lot of API actually available these days. For example, there's a new API that you can use to detect barcode, or we're currently working for the face detection API as well. So if you want to build something to detect your face, you can use these things. There's a access to the native file system. So this one you can use to modify like a file inside your devices. And there's a web NVC as well. This is something if you want to build like a NFC reader or writer. And this is a lot of other APIs that are already stable. So means it's already available under Chrome stable version, which is we are already in Chrome 83 right now. So as you see, you can see there's a contact picker API. You can also check if your native API are already available. This is the barcode reader. This is the web OTP, and there's a web share. I mean, if you provide a share button, it will give you like a native share dialog from the device or from the operating system. So a lot of new APIs like this. But I think the most important one, think about the use case. So what do you want to do with this new API? For example, the web OTP, most of the people use this to send the OTP for sign in, because in the phone, switch between SMS app and your native app, it's not very convenient. Phone is not built for multitasking, so we need to provide a way for your app to able read the OTP automatically without typing or copy paste between SMS to your app. So consider use this web OTP to help your users input the OTP without typing or copy paste, because it will reduce the time that need to input the OTP. So my suggestions, think about what the problem you are having inside your app, and then what the native app already doing with this kind of problem, and see if the API, the similar API, also available on the web. Then you can just build the function using the API, and then just do the same thing to provide better experience for your users. So I think that's my take on how do you start with the API. And a lot of API come with documentation. Like for example, if you just click this web OTP, we already provide to like a guideline, and also there's some example if you want to check as well. So there's a demo like this. You can just go there, and then you can just see the code, copy and paste the code, and see if it works on your site. This is using Bleach. It takes times to load. So I will go back here. So just check in Web.dev Live Fugu, and then go to the specific app like this, and then see the example. Usually we come with the demo field for each of the app. So you just check here the examples and then try by yourself. Hope it helped. Any other questions? We don't have anything on Slido, so feel free if you want to ask other question.
Okay, it seems there are no more questions.
Okay.
But yeah, I think people are asking how they can be like join the DSE, and my only answer is it's actually very easy to join a DSE community. So if probably you're in a university where there's one, you could just go for their meetups or contact the DSE league in your institution and go for the meetups. Yes, and there's also a link. Emmanuel just posted a link in the chat, so you can just use that to get to know more about DSE and how you can join. Thank you. Any more questions, please?
Yes, I think I have a question here.
Yeah, go
Okay,
for
so
it.
I
Go
want
first.
to know about with a web app. I'm actually doing web, and there's a whole lot of frameworks here. So if someone is coming into web, what is the preferred, or let me say the framework that you recommend for a new user, or the framework that is best for as a web developer? What is the best framework that we should use?
Yeah. So this is something that very subjective, because everyone have their own preference. If we're talking about framework, it's the same questions if we ask to the someone like what kind of food you like. So everyone will answer with a different answer. So my take on that, based on my experience, I've been as a developer since in the high school, and I know it's really hard for us to switch to the different framework, tools, technology, languages. Whenever there are new tools coming, there are new framework coming, it's really hard for us to just keep switching between tools. So my take on that, start with the fundamental, start with HTML, start with JavaScript, start with CSS. Because once you can good enough on these three as a basic fundamental for building the web, you can easily switch to the different frameworks. Because all those tools, frameworks basically use the same thing. They are using HTML, they are using JavaScript, they are using CSS. They only wrap the things and make you easily write your code, so you don't need to repeat your code again and again. So, but sometimes if you start with some kind of like raw things like this, maybe it's a bit hard, because you will need to write more code compared with the framework. But again, it gives you more practice, it gives you more fundamental, and it gives you more knowledge to able do anything. I saw a lot of people start with React framework because it's super popular these days. But then they can build something with React, but then once they accept it in a different company that using a different framework, it's really hard for them to switch, because they only understand how React works, but they don't understand how the web works. So my take, if you wanna chasing your career as a web developer, start with the web fundamental, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And then later you can jump the try different framework and then figure out which one that you like. For example, myself, I don't use any framework whenever I build my web app. I only use web components. So, for example, I have this small website that I built. At the URL. If you want to try, so I built this small web app to help you screen record your screen just with the web API. If you open that in the Chrome browser, you can easily do screen recording without install any app. So this one I built using the web component, means it's the standard CSS, JavaScript, and HTML. I don't use any framework, and it works. So feel free to use any kind of framework that you like, but I suggest you to start with the basic first to make you able to switch between the frameworks. So I think that's my answer, Alphys. Hopefully it's helped. Cool. We
Yes,
have
yes.
questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You have a question from Slido. Can you recommend any API that can help in converting Word document to PDF and vice versa? So if you're talking about Microsoft Word document, I believe there's some library that available, but I know there's a PDF.js from Mozilla. So it could be used to create a PDF document, but I'm not sure how we can read the Microsoft Word document. But if you have like a C library or any other library that use different languages, I suggest you check WebAssembly, because WebAssembly basically like a tool to wrap any kind of library from different languages. It could be from C++, it could be from Python, and you can wrap the library and then you use it inside your web app. So find this thing, WebAssembly. That may be interesting, but also PDF.js also available. Hopefully that helped. Another question, what's your experience as a web developer? So I started code HTML in 2002. So it's been 18 years so far. And I've been trying to try different languages. Like I use Python, I use Node.js, but still I prefer use the web, because all the best part of the web, like easily you can just share the link and then everyone can access your content, your app. I think I really like all about the web, and I believe web is the future of the app and the game. So for me, if you want to become like a really good web developers, I suggest you like keep practice, keep build something, because this is the only way for you to able create something that utilize the whole features of technology. Because if you just not, I think similar like a sports, you will be great if you keep practice. And also you need to learn how to debugging, like how to search in Google search, how to find the right keywords whenever you stuck with your coding. So I think this kind of stuff is super important. And also the problem solving skill. So whenever you're facing a problem, you need to figure out or try to analyze the thing, try to break big thing into small thing, and then analyze the small thing to figure out what's the problem you can solve there. So problem solving things is always amazing to learn also. And I think if you read the coding interview thing, I suggest you also to practice this thing, because usually whenever you trying to apply in a company, they use coding interview as a something to test how good you are on problem solving. So I think, yeah, that's my suggestions as a web developers. I'm not really a software engineer these days. I call myself as a product developer, but using the web. So that's why if you check my LinkedIn, I'm also a design sprint master. Means I use design thinking to design and analyze and figure out what kind of product we can build. So I think, yeah, that's why I can share. Feel free to ask any questions if you want to know more about my experience as a web developer. That's it.
Any more questions on Slido or any platform? Okay, so I think that's it. First of all, I'd like to thank Yohan for making it for this session and for giving us very vital information about the web and how we can make our apps faster and deploy our products, starting with the web first at all time. And thank you to all the DSC needs from Ghana and the other countries who were able to make it. And thank you for the people on YouTube who were able to tune in. And thank you all for joining, simply. And we'll be having more sessions like this. So we'd like to see all of you again sometime later. And have a great day. Yeah, thank you so much.
Let me, I want to share also the slide presentation that I was presented. So if you want to read about the presentation that I have before, just go to that link. So, but don't share it on Twitter or your social media. Please just use for yourself. It's okay. It's okay to share with your friends, but don't share it in public, like on social media or other stuff. Cool. You're welcome, Cedric. So I think that's all. It's what time now? Here it's almost 10 p.m. in Indonesia, but this is okay. Usually I sleep around 12 at the midnight, so that's fine. Thank you so much, Cedric, to give the opportunity to meet you all. Hopefully I can visit you someday. It's one of my dreams to visit Africa, so hopefully it comes. I know Indonesia is all about nature, but I believe your country is more beautiful than ours. So,
Are you sure?
so yeah, I believe I love to come. Hopefully, sometimes we have opportunity. Of course. Yes, of course. Yeah, of course. Hopefully, we have opportunity. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Stay healthy. Bye.